AEW needs to ban these 10 things if the company wants to recover from the bad publicity they have been getting lately. Number 1, risky in-ring moves. Pile drivers, brain busters, and blading are just a few of the risky in-ring moves that we see in AEW on a weekly basis. While the inherent risks of professional wrestling are undeniable, the incident with Jon Moxley being impaled serves as a stark reminder that the pursuit of a cheap pop or extreme spectacle shouldn't come at the cost of wrestler safety and well-being. AEW, in its pursuit of a distinct and often more hardcore style, needs to carefully consider where the line is drawn between exciting, risky storytelling and gratuitous danger. The cheap pop, that immediate, often fleeting reaction from the crowd, can be tempting, but it shouldn't be the sole driving force behind in-ring action, especially when it involves a significant increase in the potential for serious injury. Moxley's impalement, while perhaps unintentional in its exact execution, occurred within the context of a match designed to be brutal and push boundaries. This raises questions about the level of acceptable risk and the responsibility of the company to protect its performers, even in matches with a hardcore stipulation. Allowing wrestlers carte blanche to do whatever they want in the ring solely for a short-term crowd reaction can lead to an increased likelihood of severe and career-altering injuries. The company already has a long list of injured wrestlers, as well as the normalization of dangerous practices and long-term health consequences for the performers. When used correctly, blood in professional wrestling is an exceptional tool to have at your disposal. It acts as a symbol of sacrifice, pain, and the ultimate struggle. However, when blood becomes a recurring motif in almost every major match, its impact diminishes. It transitions from a potent storytelling device to a predictable visual trope. The shock value fades, and the audience might become desensitized. Instead of enhancing the narrative, it risks becoming a crutch, a shortcut to create a sense of drama that might otherwise be lacking. Think of it like a chef relying too heavily on a single spice. A pinch of chili can add a thrilling kick to a dish, but an entire spoonful overwhelms the palate, masking the other delicate flavors and potentially making the experience unpleasant. Similarly, a strategic trickle of blood can heighten the intensity of a wrestling match, but a constant deluge risks obscuring the storytelling, the athleticism, and the emotional investment in the characters. Jon Moxley, again, has unfortunately become the poster child for the frequent and sometimes excessive use of blood in AEW matches. He has, through the sheer frequency of it, become the living embodiment of the overdoing it criticism. When discussions arise about AEW's reliance on blood, Moxley's matches are often the first examples cited. This isn't necessarily a criticism of Moxley as a performer, but rather an observation of a trend that aligns with the concerns raised about the overuse of blood in the promotion. Furthermore, the over-reliance on blood can inadvertently paint a certain picture of AEW to a wider audience, one that prioritizes shock and gore over nuanced wrestling and compelling narratives. This could limit their appeal and potentially attract the wrong kind of attention, overshadowing the genuine talent and creativity within the company. By being more selective and deliberate with the use of blood, AEW can restore its power and impact. When reserved for truly significant and emotionally charged moments, the crimson stain will once again carry weight, signifying a battle truly fought tooth and nail, a sacrifice truly made. This restraint will ultimately allow the other colors of AEW's artistic palette, the athleticism, the storytelling, the character work, to shine even brighter. AEW's approach to disclosing wrestler injuries stands in stark contrast to the transparency often seen in mainstream sports like football. Unlike football clubs, which routinely inform the media about player injuries, detailing the specific nature of the ailment, its severity, e.g. muscle strain, a ligament tear, and a projected timeline for recovery, AEW typically operates with a veil of secrecy around the health status of its performers. Instead of clear and direct announcements, information about injured AEW wrestlers often trickles out through vague statements, cryptic social media posts from the wrestlers themselves, or is simply absent from official company communications. Fans are left to speculate based on a performer's absence from television or cryptic hints dropped in interviews. This lack of clear information breeds uncertainty and can lead to rumors and conjecture among the fan base. The absence of a key performer without a clear explanation can detract from storylines and make it difficult for the audience to fully invest in the ongoing narratives. Furthermore, the lack of transparency can sometimes fuel speculation about the severity of injuries, potentially causing unnecessary worry among fans and even impacting the perceived stability of the company's roster. Imagine Tony Khan as the conductor of a rather ambitious and sometimes unruly orchestra, the AEW roster. He's the one with the score, the vision for the symphony they're trying to create. When individual musicians decide to step off the podium during a performance and start heckling the conductor, or worse, publicly question his musical choices and conducting style, the entire harmony falls apart. It's like a band where the lead singer starts bad-mouthing the songwriter and the drummer publicly criticizes the tempo. The audience, instead of being swept away by the music, becomes distracted by the backstage drama. The magic of the performance is shattered by the discord. For AEW wrestlers to publicly disrespect Tony Khan is akin to sawing at the branch they're sitting on. He's the one providing the platform, the opportunities, and ultimately, the direction for their careers within that specific ecosystem. Undermining his authority and vision in the public sphere erodes the very foundation of the company they are a part of. It creates a sense of internal chaos and unprofessionalism that bleeds into the perception of the entire product. Instead of public discord, a more harmonious approach would be for wrestlers to address any grievances or creative differences internally within the rehearsal room, so to speak. Constructive criticism and open dialogue behind the scenes can lead to a stronger, more cohesive performance. Building upon the metaphor of the orchestra, the backstage environment should be the dedicated rehearsal room, a space for collaboration, constructive criticism, and working out any kinks in the performance. However, when backstage disagreements escalate into actual physical altercations, backstage fights, it's as if the musicians are throwing punches and damaging their instruments before they even step onto the stage. These backstage brawls create a toxic and unprofessional atmosphere. Instead of fostering a supportive and collaborative environment where performers can hone their craft and build camaraderie, it breeds resentment, distrust, and potentially even fear. It disrupts the creative process and can lead to a fractured locker room where individuals are more concerned with internal conflicts than with delivering compelling performances for the audience. Imagine Tony Khan as the head gardener of a sprawling and vibrant wrestling garden. He's carefully cultivated a diverse array of unique flowers, the talented AEW roster, each with its own distinct color, shape, and fragrance. Initially, he might have encouraged a degree of natural growth, allowing each bloom to express its individuality. However, if left unchecked, this freedom can lead to a chaotic and overgrown garden. Some flowers might start to overshadow others, blocking their sunlight. Invasive weeds, unplanned or overly risky moves, disrespectful behavior, might begin to choke the more delicate blossoms. Tony Khan needs to transition from a laissez-faire gardener to a more guiding hand. He doesn't need to prune every unique petal or force every flower into the same rigid shape. Instead, he needs to establish clear boundaries and cultivate a more structured ecosystem. AEW's hiring strategy, particularly its tendency to sign former WWE talent, needs a critical review to ensure sustainable growth and a distinct identity. Instead of being seen as a second-chance platform for wrestlers who couldn't find consistent footing in WWE, AEW risks diluting its own homegrown talent and creative vision. AEW has a talented roster of wrestlers who have developed their craft within the company or on the independent scene. These individuals represent AEW's potential signature tastes. By investing more in their storylines, character development, and consistent booking, AEW can create stars that are distinctly AEW originals, drawing fans specifically to their unique brand. Think of MJF's organic rise as a prime example of this homegrown flavor. Stop the abrupt abandonment of storylines. It can be frustrating for fans who invest their time and emotions into developing narratives. Number 9, too many titles. It's a common sentiment among wrestling fans that AEW's large and ever-growing roster presents both opportunities and challenges. While a deep talent pool can offer variety and exciting matchups, it can also lead to some wrestlers getting lost in the shuffle or not having consistent storylines. Before considering new signings, the creative team should pinpoint specific needs in terms of character dynamics, wrestling styles, or star power for ongoing or upcoming storylines. Instead of signing wrestlers simply because they are available or have name value, focus on individuals who can fill those identified gaps and enhance existing narratives.